is poor. It's just simply telling you, like, they want this goal, but the whole thing is not in alignment. The thoughts, the feelings, and their actions are not in line with the thing they say that they want. Their attitude's bad. They've got a poor attitude. Welcome to the Prime Life Project podcast, a place to help you unlock your full potential, both mentally and physically, to become the best version of you. Welcome back to an episode of the Prime Life Project podcast, a place to help you both mentally and physically become the best version of you. I'm your host, Daniel James, and today we are talking about attitude. So for me, this is a topic that has become quite relevant the more I've been talking in schools. So for those of you that do or don't know, I talk a lot in schools, and I've literally just been at school this morning actually. And I love talking in schools. One of the biggest things that I like to do is work with the kids that are struggling in school, because I was one of those kids that didn't do very well at school. I was struggling. Never a big fan of actually being in there, especially when it comes to the academic side of things. Although now I love reading, at the time I definitely didn't. But attitude is something that comes up time and time again. So something I wanted to touch on in the podcast, so that is what we're deep diving today. And as always, if you take any value from today's episode, please don't forget to like and share it with a friend. Help us to spread the word to help as many people as possible. So attitude. So I just want to start with a quote here from William James, who was from Harvard University. Again, I don't think he's around anymore, but he's basically the father of psychology in America. And he said, human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. So I think that's a really powerful quote. So I'll open up with like just understanding that we can alter our lives by altering our attitudes of mind. Just by changing our attitude. So many things can change by just altering our attitude. And here all the time, we talk about, again, people's attitudes aren't great, but we never really sort of deep dive. What does attitude mean? What does it look like? How do we change our attitude? We say, oh yeah, attitude's poor. And maybe you know that your attitude is poor when it comes to certain things, but then how do you change that? No one really discusses or talks about that. So that's really what I'll go with today. There's a great quote here again from Earl Nightingale that says, a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere till you change it. And that's, again, why I want to talk about it today, because this whole podcast is about you becoming the best version of yourself, you developing, you getting better in whatever capacity that means for you. So again, whether that's in your work, your business, your personal life, relationships, whatever that is for you. And that's why, again, we're getting some of these guests in. We're deep diving a lot of things, but it all comes back to like personal excellence, that self-development, like you becoming that best version of yourself so that you can live the life that you want to live. So let's sort of take a little deep dive into attitude then. So attitude is the alignment of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. So we spoke about these three areas in numerous different podcasts before, but just aligning your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And again, it makes perfect sense when you think about it, but if I'd said to you before that, like, what does attitude mean? Could you have actually explained it? But when you really think about it, someone's attitude is essentially the energy that they give off because of their thoughts, their feelings, and their actions. And the way that I kind of visualize this, I'm a very visual person, so whether you're listening to the podcast or you're watching the podcast, the way that I liken this is, imagine the game of Connect 4. Now, for this to work, we're playing a game of Connect 3. So again, for you, those who've never played that game before, fundamentally, all you've got to do is basically, it's like noughts and crosses, kind of like that, but it's with colours. So you've got to think that the three runs, you've got the actions at the bottom, then your feelings, and the top one is your thoughts. And whatever order you put them in will then lead to your results. So for example, if you have negative thoughts, negative feelings, and negative actions, your results will be negative. So they'll be red. So we're going to use colours here. We're going to use red and we're going to use blue. So it'd be red, red, red. So again, that connects 3, and the results would be red, negative, because you've got red thoughts, red feelings, and red actions. But then it's then think yourself, right, well then all I've got to do is think positively. Surely that's all I've got to do. So to get better results in my life, you've just got to change the way you think. And that's what I talk a lot about. Like fundamentally, all you've got to do is change your thoughts. And yes, on the most fundamental level, you do. But if you've got the positive thoughts, so they're blue, but your feelings and your actions are still red. So although you've got positive thoughts, your feelings deep down, your feeling towards it is negative, and your actions are negative, your results are going to be negative. So then let's take it a step further. Let's add another blue in. So we've got blue thoughts, blue feelings, but then red actions. Now, once again, the results you're going to get are red. You've got to have all three in perfect alignment to actually change and get the results you want. Because if you're thinking positive thoughts, thinking positive, empowering thoughts, and again, you're feeling amazing, you're feeling in line, you're like, yes, this is brilliant, but then your actions are red, that's going to give you the results of red. And you can change it however you want. You can even just have really good action. And this is what a lot of people do. So we all know people that take blue action, this really positive blue action. And it could be that they're going to feed the homeless, for example. So we all know people like this that feed the homeless and do all this good charitable stuff. So their actions are blue. Their actions are very, very positive. However, their thoughts and their feelings are red. And you'd be thinking to yourself, well, how can you take such positive action but have such negative thoughts and feelings behind it? Well, you can, even when it comes to feeding the homeless. If you're doing it with the thoughts and the feelings and the intention behind it of, I'm only doing this to post this on social media to show people how good I am, then the results you're going to get are red. Because your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, they're not in alignment. You have to have all three in alignment. It's not about, change your thoughts and then leave your feelings and your actions. It's not about taking that positive action if the thoughts and the feelings behind it are negative. Because that's the energy. It's about what energy are you putting behind the thing that you're doing. So you know full well if you're doing something charitable or something good, but actually the intention behind it is, I'm only doing this so I can hold this against this person and get something out of them at a later date. That's not good. That's not positive. The energy you're putting behind that is negative. Or as I mentioned there, you're only feeding the homeless to take a photo so you can show people on Instagram, I'm so virtuous and happy. You have to have all three aligned. That's the only way to get that blue results. It has to be your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all in alignment, and that's when your results start to change. So we've mentioned a lot on the podcast about changing your thoughts and all that stuff, but understanding it has to have the feelings and the actions backed in as well. And long-time listeners of the podcast remember the Buddha wheel we spoke about. When you've got your identity, the I am statements, and you've got your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your results, and the confirmation. It's all there. It's all part of the same thing. And as I mentioned before, when you come down the self-development space, when you go into all this personal development, self-growth, whatever you want to call it, it's all fundamentally the same thing. But people are missing certain parts. So as I said, if people are just talking to you about, you've got to change your thoughts, that's brilliant. Take control of your thoughts. Again, brilliant. But if they're not teaching you about your feelings and your actions, then you're not going to get that full alignment to get the results that you want. All three have to be in alignment. And our attitude is simply telling us about our alignment with our goal. So what is the outcome that you actually want? Because your attitude towards that will tell you, well, actually, are you going to get the results that you want? Because if your alignment isn't in track, so if it's not in line with what you want, you're not going to get the thing that you want. But here's a key thing I want to pick up on this, that your attitude does not make you a good or a bad person. You can have a bad attitude and still be a good person. So let's use football as an example. We say, or even kids, they've got such a bad attitude. That does not make the kid a bad kid. It just means their attitude towards that thing is poor. It's just simply telling you, like, they want this goal, but the whole thing is not in alignment. The thoughts, the feelings, and their actions are not in line with the thing they say that they want. Their attitude's bad. They've got a poor attitude. We're not talking about, well, they're a bad person. So think to yourself, when someone said to you, your attitude is bad, do you take that as a personal insult? They're not personally insulting. If someone's telling you your attitude is bad, what they're really saying is your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions aren't actually in alignment with the thing that you say that you want. That's actually a good thing. If someone's telling you your attitude's bad, I'll take it as a positive. But you have to understand what attitude is first before you can take it as a positive. Because if you don't know what attitude is, and someone says you've got a bad attitude, well, if you don't know what it is, how can you do something about it? But now you know it's your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, you can then ask yourself, well, some attitude's bad. Well, is it bad? And if you're thinking, well, yeah, actually, my thoughts towards this thing, it's really bad, actually. I've not got a good feeling about it. I'm taking really bad action. Then there we go. Then you know. And your attitude will tell you what to expect in return. Because your attitudes towards people will be people's attitude towards you. So if you're walking around, you're noticing, everyone's got such a bad attitude. Everyone at my work, the attitude's terrible. You're the common denominator. And I use this in schools. When I go in, I'm talking to these kids. I'm like, your attitude matters. My attitude towards them matters. I was in a school the other day and the teacher said, I'm sure you've heard about our school. And I went, I actually haven't. It turns out the school wasn't Ofsted. Great. I don't even know what that really means. But I said, no, I don't do any research into the school because I don't want to come in here with a bias towards the kids or the school or anything like that. I'm just going in, I'm doing a job. Like, I know what I've got to do and I know I'm very, very good at doing it. But when I go and talk to these kids, if I've got an attitude that I'm superior, that I'm better than them, they're going to pick up on that straight away, and their attitude towards me is going to reflect that. The reason why I'm so good at what I do is because I go in there with an attitude of, I'm going here to help these kids. Like, these are amazing people. I was once there, and I'm basically talking to them how I would talk to myself. And that's why they respond to me in such a positive way. Because how you respond to other people is how they're going to respond to you. So ask yourself, has every single person in your life got an attitude? Because if they do, then the newsflash is, you're the one with the attitude. You are the problem. You are the common denominator. And we're going to talk about it in a second, but you can have different attitudes towards different things. So your attitude at work could be different to your attitude in your personal life, could be different towards your money, could be different towards your intimate relationships. You can have different attitudes for different things. It's not one attitude fits all. So again, at school, the kids' attitudes at school may be terrible. You then get them out of school playing football, the attitude's amazing. So attitude is different. It's not just a one-size-fits-all when it comes to everything. That's something that people really, really need to understand. And I think I've used this quote before about the only thing the world is doing is producing a perfect reflection of your attitude towards it. So just have a little look. Because it's essentially cause and effect. There is a law of cause and effect, and that's what this is. And the law of cause and effects states that whatever you put out is always going to come back. And we know this from Newton's cradle. So Newton's cradle, hopefully you've seen this. It's basically got the 5 balls, the metal balls that are hanging from a metal frame. And basically you pick up 3 of the balls. So you pick up 3, and that means, so you pick up 2 and you leave 3 left. You let go of the 2 you've picked up. It will smash the 3, and then 2 will go the other way. Because you've lifted up 2, when it smashes the other 3, 2 goes the other way. The 3 don't move, 2 move. It's cause and effect. So you lift 2, 2 must go the other way. If you lift up 3, 3 goes. You lift up 4, 4 goes. It's cause and effect. And the thing is with these laws, you can't see the laws. Like gravity, you can't see gravity. All you can see is the expression of gravity. If you pick up a pen and drop it, you see gravity expressed. Again, cause and effect, you can't see it, but Newton's cradle, that's what it is. And all attitude is literally an expression of cause and effect. If you're going towards somebody, and we've all done this before, where you're being super, super positive, you put positivity out, and then you happen to get positivity back. It's like, oh, these people are really nice. No, you put out that positivity. I remember when I went on a, it's a long time ago, I went on a, what's it called? Driver's thing. What's it called? Speed awareness course. That's what I was. I went on a speed awareness course. Again, talking, I think 5-6 years ago, I went on a speed awareness course. I sat there in this room and I'll never forget it. Like, the atmosphere was horrific. Every single person's attitude in there was awful. You had like these big biker dudes. Like, everyone was just aggressive, angry, hated being there. Like, honestly, it was just a disgusting, horrible place. As soon as this guy walks in to teach his class, he opened his mouth and you could feel the energy just dissipated. And was like, oh, because the guy was so nice. It was impossible not to like him. So straight away, his attitude towards us completely knocked us off. And then we then couldn't have this bad attitude towards him. It was impossible. It was like this weird force had come across the whole room. And as soon as he opened his mouth, it was like, oh, we've got to treat this guy with respect. Because again, he automatically was just so nice, softly spoken, but commanding and respectful. Bam, straight away, everyone's guard went down and that was it. His attitude towards us was then our attitude towards him. And it was absolutely bizarre. I knew it, I could feel what was going on, but at that time I had no idea about this energy stuff, about cause and effect, about attitude. I had no idea about any of this stuff. But I literally, so when I was understanding and learning this and I was putting this workshop together, it was such a vivid thing. It was like, I remember seeing this in action because I just remember thinking, this guy, like, you just couldn't, like, you just didn't want, you wanted to, like, the best for him. It's still bizarre when I try and explain it now. And afterwards, we were all talking about it, and we were like, what the hell was up with that? Like, that guy was so nice. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. And it's just incredible how you see it. But in life, we all want control. We've mentioned this before on a few podcasts. We want control. People want control. And when people feel out of control, that's what causes people to feel a bit uneasy. But our attitude is something we have complete control over. You have complete control over your attitude. Whether you're aware of it or not, you're completely in control of it. And we can establish our attitude each morning when we actually start the day, because you do it whether you are aware of it or not. When you wake up in the morning, you are then setting your attitude for the day by what you do, by what you consume. So it's the first thing that you do looking on your phone. Because if it is, and all you're reading is the news, and it's negative, 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 you're going to have a certain attitude towards the world. You're going to have certain thoughts and feelings towards the world. So again, if you're reading the news and you're saying, oh, this war, destruction, the politicians, you're going to be like, oh, the world is effed. Oh, all the people are assholes. Whatever it is. And then straight away, your thoughts and your feelings, your thoughts are going to be negatives, and your feeling is going to be negative. So then straight away, you know full well you're going to have a negative day. Because that's just how it works. And we've all been in this situation. And it's harder to then realign our attitudes when we start it off so negatively. We all know, and we've all had those days where you wake up and something bad happens straight away, and then it's so hard to get yourself back on track again. But that's what happens on a subconscious level. Whether you're aware of it or not, every morning you're calibrating your attitude for the day. So why not actually try and calibrate it properly? Because it goes back to like when you've got kids or partner, if you're waking up and your attitude is poor, straight away your partner or your kids are going to reflect that back towards you. When I'm working with parents, I'll say, when they start to get themselves into that good headspace and they really start to work on themselves and then take responsibility for their life and their actions, their thoughts and their feelings, they'll notice that their kids' attitude towards them changes. Oh, my kids have become really well behaved now. It's like, well, yeah, because your attitude towards them has changed. Like, you're taking responsibility for what you're putting out there. You're calmer, so the kid's going to be calmer. You're more in control, the kid's going to be more in control. If you're just a crazy mess and you're just trying to pretend to your kids you've got your life together, the kids pick up on the energy. If the energy's chaotic, then you are then going to be giving that chaotic energy to the kids. So just have a look. Have a look at what your kids are doing, because all they're going to be doing is mirroring you. And kids are very, very smart. They can pick up on energy. They can pick up on all that sort of stuff. They're very, very smart. So if you want to improve your relationship with your partner, if you want to improve your relationship with your kids, actually take that responsibility and be like, right, what is my attitude towards them? What are my thoughts? What are my feelings? And what are my actions towards them? Because again, you love your kids unconditionally, I imagine. So your feeling towards them is going to be nothing but love. However, if you're thinking negative thoughts and you're taking negative action, the results are going to be negative, like we just said. But your attitude, as mentioned, can change based on where you are, what you're doing, and on different subjects. For example, like I mentioned earlier, your attitude at work, your personal life, when you're on holiday. Notice how your attitude changes when you're on holiday. If you can't think about that, maybe think back to when you were a child and you're on holiday with your parents and notice how your parents' attitude changed. They were completely chill. They weren't bothered as much. They weren't as angry. They were chill. Their attitude was different because they're in a different environment. Again, your attitude towards money. How about your attitude towards yourself? What's your attitude towards yourself like? That's a key question to ask yourself right now when you're listening. What's your thoughts towards yourself? What's your feelings towards yourself? And what actions do you take towards yourself to actually better yourself and want to improve yourself in some way, shape or form? What actions do you take with yourself? Is it positive actions or negative actions? And again, when I'm working with my clients, I was asking like, well, what's your attitude towards fat loss? What's your attitude towards your goal? Like, if you don't actually think that you can do it, you're taking the actions. So I've given you stuff to do. So you're taking the actions, but actually in the back of your mind, you're thinking you can't do it and you're feeling quite down and disheartened about it. Guess what? You can take all the positive actions that you want. It's not going to stick. Yes, you might see the number on the scales going down. You may see the bank balance improving. But fundamentally, if your thoughts towards it are negative, over time, those thoughts will catch up with you and it will become a negative thing for you. You've got to get that alignment. That thoughts, the feelings and the actions have to be aligned. And sometimes it's hard to convince people that the world they're experiencing is a reflection of their attitude. They take the attitude that if only people would be nice to them, then they would be nice in return. And they are like the person sitting in front of a cold fire waiting for the heat. But until they put on the wood, they won't get any heat at all. It's up to you to act first. You have to start somewhere. So let it start with you. Don't be that person that's sat there waiting for the heat to come from the fire. Oh, but if they're nice to me, I'll be nice back. That is a terrible attitude. That is a terrible, terrible attitude. That is literally like you sat there in front of a fire that's going out and saying, oh, someone else put the logs on. No, get up and put the logs on yourself. You can't expect to get the fire, the heat, the response, without you taking some responsibility and taking action first. Pick up the logs, put the log on the fire, and then you get the heat that you want. Cause and effects, action and reaction. Stop trying to get the reaction without taking any action towards it. For the next week, just ask yourself, how can you change your attitude towards, maybe if it's your co-worker, someone that you work with that you always have a bit of an argy-bargy with, or maybe it's your partner or your kids, and just make a dedicated cause, like a choice, until next week's episode for 7 days. Say to yourself, I'm going to consciously put good towards this person. I'm going to be positive, I'm going to smile, I'm going to say hello, I'm going to give them love and kindness, and see how the world changes. If anyone's studied Buddhism in any way, shape or form, they do a meditation on this. Completely going to butcher it. It's called the Buddha Gita. No, it's not the Buddha Gita, that's something else. Love and Joy. It's called something Love and Joy. I'll get Mikey to ping up on the thing. Basically, there's a meditation in Buddhism where basically you close your eyes and you meditate on yourself. So you wish yourself love. Love, kindness and compassion. You then wish someone neutral love, kindness and compassion. You then wish the world love, kindness and compassion. And then you wish someone that you dislike love, peace and compassion. And the whole thing of that is you're changing your attitude towards that person. You're visualizing that person and you're changing your attitude towards it. And once you change your attitude towards that person, guess what? Their attitude towards you is going to change. I had no idea that that's what this was. Because I was thinking to myself, well, why is meditating on this person and sending them on that love? What's that going to do? It's changing your attitude towards them so that when you see that person, you're instantly going to be a little bit kinder, a little bit softer because you're sending them love. It's such a hard thing to do. But again, I've taken so much from Buddhism and the practice of Buddhism. And that's one of the biggest things I do. Again, I do it every morning when I'm doing my journaling. It's part of my morning routine. Like, I will send love to someone that I'm having issues with. And sometimes it's exceptionally hard. And there's a process behind it, so I don't just go in there. It's not the first thing I do. I've got to get myself ready. I've got to get myself aligned. I've got to get my attitude right before I'm then doing that. But it's completely disarms it. So understand, you've got to take that responsibility. We talk about responsibility a lot. You've got to take that responsibility to be like, if I want this situation to change, I have to change. If you want the situation to change, you have to change first. Most people never, ever, ever think about their attitudes at all. And again, it's a key thing. This is probably most of you right now, because I was this exact same way. This is why I'm doing all this stuff. When I'm doing these workshops with my clients, when I'm doing this podcast, I'm sharing this stuff from personal experience. And I remember this so clearly. Like, I literally used to walk around completely oblivious to this stuff. And once you hear it, it makes perfect sense. You're like, well, of course things are going a certain way. Like, I'm going into work with this attitude because I hate this person. No wonder that they're bringing stuff towards me. And here's the thing. It goes back to all the other podcasts we've spoken about, like communication. Like, if you've not communicated that the person at work has done something to bother you, then you then hold this attitude of negativity towards them, but they don't even know they've done anything wrong. So your attitude towards them is horrific, and they're going to think, well, God, this person hates me. So their attitude towards you is going to be different, but you don't hate them. You're just bothered about something that they did, but you haven't told them that you're bothered by it. You're just internalizing it, and it's just horrific. So it goes back to everything. Everything interlinks. About understanding, about setting boundaries, communicating. All of these things align. And I said most people aren't aware of their attitudes at all. For most of them, it's a matter of beginning the day in neutrality. So most people wake up and they're completely neutral, and their attitudes are neither good nor bad, and basically they are poised to react to any situation that life throws at them. So if something good happens, they'll have a good day. If it's bad, they'll have a bad day. And it's very, very reactive. I talk about being proactive. I spoke about it before multiple times. Be proactive. Sort your morning routine out. And the morning routine is not about the routine. Your morning routine is not about your routine. Your morning routine is about getting you vibrationally in a line and your attitude in a line with where you want to go. Your morning routine is about getting your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions aligned to achieve what you want to do. So that if something negative does come your way, you're already in a better place to deal with it. You've already got that positive attitude and that positive mindset. You're on that positive vibration. So if someone knocks it down, you go from good to neutral, rather than from neutral to bad, or from bad to worse. It's like putting on your suit of armour is what I call it. Put your suit of armour on, and what you're doing is you're being proactive. You're not reacting to the day. It's also taking responsibility with this, because everyone's attitudes are contagious. We all know someone's attitude, maybe it's your boss, where you sat there at work, and that one person comes in, and the whole energy of the room shifts. That's their attitude. The energy that they're giving off. What is your attitude like if it's contagious? Are you the person that when you walk into a room, people are like, oh, negative Nancy's here again? Or are you the person where it's like, oh, Mikey's here? And again, straight away, you're bubbling and the energy in the room's different. Like, what kind of attitude do you have? Because it's important to look at that. If this attitude is infectious, what are you giving off? Have you stopped and asked yourself this? Because it works like this. Great attitude, great results. Good attitude, good results. Average attitude, average results. Poor attitude, poor results. But no matter how bad your attitude is towards a situation, person, or a thing, you can change it at any time. Like, everything in your world, it revolves around people. Every single thing, especially when it comes to money, every single pound that you will ever earn will come from people. The person that you love, all these people that you live around with, these human beings, you interact with them on a daily basis, and all these individuals have their own attitudes. And if you can be that beacon of light where your attitude helps alter their attitude and helps brighten up their day, that is going to give you more connections. That's going to get you closer connections. That's going to allow you to, again, earn more money, have closer friendships, have more mini connections with people, your kids, your partner, whatever it is. So just ask yourself, your attitude is something that you can control. Why are you not controlling it? And every single day, it's about just stopping and just realigning yourself, just checking yourself. What's my attitude like? If you're not getting the results that you want, ask yourself, are my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions in alignment with the thing that I want? And if the answer is no, start to shift it. That's all I've got for you guys. Take it easy. That was a bit of a short. I'm gonna keep rolling because that was a poor outro by me. I'm gonna change it. Take it easy. That's all I've got for you guys. If you took any value from it, don't forget to like and share with a friend. Until next time, take it easy.